I've been a lifelong Apple user slash Apple fanboy ever since I was a kid. I'll never forget the day my dad walked in from work with what was at the time the latest and greatest. And this right here is the original iPhone 3G. As of now, this is the second oldest iPhone, and this is the current latest and greatest. But as I sat there watching this year's Galaxy Unpacked, as I do every year, I thought to myself, I've never actually given an Android a fair shot. Just like that, after the event, I pre-ordered and dropped $1,300 of my own money on the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. With that said, in this video, I'm gonna be answering one simple question. Can I be convinced? With that said, let's go ahead and unbox my first ever Samsung device. All right, moment of truth. Oh my goodness. That is beautiful. Okay, let's see how I like this. Wow, this phone is much larger than I anticipated. This is my first look at the pink titanium gold. And the reason I bought it is because it looks grayish gold rather than pink. Let's hope this is satisfying. Ooh, okay, that was nice. That was nice. Okay, let's see, what else do we get? In the box, we just get a standard SIM card key removal, and we also get a very standard USB-C to USB-C cable. No power brick, but to be honest, I feel like no one includes that nowadays. Here's a quick side-by-side comparison. Yes, this is the 16 Pro, not the 16 Pro Max. Do keep that in mind when I'm comparing these two phones, but honestly, the colors look very similar. This looks like a washed gold, and this is desert titanium, so it feels more brown, but I actually really like this. A quick initial impression are how much sharper the corners are. I feel like they are digging into my palms a little bit more. So from a design perspective, the cameras do protrude a lot more than the iPhone, but I also feel like the actual layout of the S25 Ultra is more sleek and minimal. So I honestly feel like they're very similar in that aspect. One of the most obvious difficult things I'll be giving up is FaceTime, AirDrop, and the iOS interface software. The S25 Ultra does come with One UI 7, and I'm not completely unfamiliar with this type of ecosystem. I do use a lot of Google-owned products on a regular basis, but when it comes to messaging and my communication, that will definitely be a change for sure. At the bottom here, this is interesting to me. We have the S25 S Pen. I don't know how I feel about this. This is kind of interesting. What's also interesting is the volume control is on the right side compared to the left side on the iPhone. Okay, Samsung Galaxy. I'm actually so excited. Okay, we're loading up, we're loading up. Initially, ooh, that display is beautiful. It does prompt me in case I want to transfer from an iPhone, so I'm gonna go ahead and click that, plugging in this USB-C into my iPhone and the other end into my S25. And now we're officially transferring. I'm literally signing my life away to Android. This is insane. If you would have told me I'd be doing this 10 years ago, I would have thought you're crazy. The S25 Ultra does have a fingerprint sensor. That's one of the biggest things I missed. I didn't like the home button layout, but I wish it was integrated into the screen. Facial recognition. Okay, let's now set it up. Register. Look at that. We've officially made the transfer. The phone is physically very hot. I mean, that's to be expected. It is transferring everything. And it says it's gonna take another hour and 19 minutes. I've always heard when you first get a Samsung or Android device, there's a lot of in settings, things that you just need to change, like your brightness. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on dark mode. If you use light mode, you're crazy. There's, oh, extra brightness. In comparison to my iPhone, that is extremely bright. Let's see the actual, see if there's like a true visible difference. The S25 Ultra is visibly much brighter, and that's all thanks to its extra brightness settings. Shining it into my light, you could just see the visible glare difference. While both claim they have that anti-reflective display, I do feel like the Galaxy's is a lot better. What's also interesting about the display is inside settings, you have the option to go from 230/40 by 1080 to 3120 by 1440p. That is not a default setting. That is something you actually have to go into and change. I'm gonna quickly run over to my AT&T store, which is my provider, so they can hopefully help me understand this whole eSIM process so I can officially transfer everything to my S25 Ultra. Okay, it's currently day 2. I did not anticipate this process to take as long as it did. Here's the quick rundown. Long story short, yesterday when I was done filming, I went over to the AT&T store to get my SIM card from my iPhone 16 Pro to my S25 Ultra. I asked a lot of questions, and in simple terms, the reason they're all about this new eSIM and eSIM is the future is really just for security. I was told that if I come back in less than 30 days and try to go back to my 16 Pro, they will completely shut down my line of service. And it's all because of fraudulent activity. So for those of you who are about to say, oh, he's gonna switch back to iPhone, I'm literally forced to be committed to the S25, which honestly, I'm fully accepting and am happy about. I paid out of pocket for this phone, and I truly wanna fully experience everything that it has to offer. Now back to what I was saying yesterday, something that I've never understood is when people go based off the on-paper specs. In full transparency, I don't care about that. I just wanna see how they perform in a real-world scenario. First, if anyone could explain this to me, why does the S25 butcher the preview but make the final product look amazing? This was by far the most frustrating aspect, as I would go to take a picture, look at the preview, not like it, and not even take the picture. After I understood that the pictures looked good, even if the preview didn't look good, I started taking pictures. But I just don't understand. It would make more sense for the preview to look better, so that people would be more inclined to take pictures. I just didn't really get that. I'm gonna throw up on screen a blind test with the left side being one phone and the right side being the other. There's no color correction at all. This is just straight from the phone. One thing I was curious about is how Samsung handles pictures with social media apps. Androids have always been clowned on for their in-app cameras just looking horrible. It's definitely not the camera's fault. I really just think it comes down to a compression issue. But in almost every use case scenario, the iPhone is going to look better on any social media app. I really wish that wasn't the case, and ultimately, I don't think that's a true fair comparison. I'll re-throw up the test. The right side was the iPhone and the left side was the S25. Do let me know which one you prefer and why. And with that being said, let's hop into a quick video test. Okay, this is a front-facing camera test. This is camera number 1. Make your guesses as you're watching this as to which one this is. Is this the S25 Ultra or is this the iPhone 16? Okay, this is the second phone. This is video test number 2. Doing a quick turnaround. It's a pretty cloudy day. Pretty solid lighting. Now that you've seen both, I'm gonna throw up which one was which, and again, you let me know which one you enjoyed more. Personally, with under 24 hours of actual experience, I do think for low light scenarios, the S25 cooks. The iPhone takes much longer to actually process the image, and it turns out to be a lot more grainy than the S25. I think for general pictures, the iPhone processes a more natural quality. A lot of times I felt like the S25 bumped up the saturation more than it should have been. When it comes to video, giving an unbiased opinion, I do prefer the iPhone's look, but they're so similar, it's really hard to tell. One new feature that was announced at Galaxy Impact was log video, and as a creator, I was so excited to hear about this. As I was practicing with it, one thing I noticed is you can actually correct the log video inside the phone. You can't do that on an iPhone. On the iPhone, you have to import it to an editing software, throw on a Rec 709 conversion LUT, and go from there. But the fact I can shoot in that flat log picture profile and instantly correct it inside the phone and send it to somebody is so convenient. Again, I'm gonna throw up a blind log video test, both being uncorrected, and now they're both corrected. They're so similar, but because you can color correct it inside the phone, the S25 clearly wins. When it comes to picture editing features, the Magic Eraser on the S25 is miles better than the iPhone. The S25 fills in what could be that background much more accurately. The iPhone, you can see the jagged lines of the colors it tries to replace, and it just does not do as good of a job. When it comes to battery life, I feel like I can't give an honest opinion until I actually film the day in the life and have some more real world use with this. Initially, this morning, coming off a full charge, I'm currently sitting at around 70%, and it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I've been using it just as much as I would normally use my iPhone, so things are looking good, and that's a clear good sign. So many people have asked me what I think about One UI 7 in comparison to iOS, which I've always been used to. First, the swipe up feature to access your apps and folders, amazing. It's miles better than swiping all the way to the end to look at that already pre-made folder that Apple throws together for you. Secondly, I don't like how much bloatware comes pre-installed on the S25 in comparison to the iPhone. I had to delete a lot more just to organize my S25 the way I wanted in comparison to how my iPhone has always been. And that applies if you've got a brand new iPhone on a brand new iCloud account. There's just significantly less pre-installed apps on an iPhone. That did cause a slight headache as somebody who just doesn't fully understand the navigation of everything. Overall, I love the customization. I know Apple finally caught up, and I'm slightly used to that now, but I think during the time where the innovation was at an all-time high with Android, giving you that full customization, I just think they're the king at it. They've been doing it longer. They've really perfected it. Even in this short transition period, I'm really just loving the freedom I have. I know I haven't covered this, but a lot of people have asked me my thoughts on the S Pen. Now they did take away the Bluetooth capability, so if you wanted to use this to take a family group selfie, you can't do that anymore. And when you compare the feel and flow of an Apple Pencil versus the S Pen, to help you understand it, the Apple Pencil feels like you're writing with a pen, and the S Pen feels like you're writing with like a marker. It is a lot smoother with the S Pen, but I don't know if that's something that I actually like. This leads me to circle search. Now I know this isn't anything new, but coming from an iPhone, browsing through things such as Pinterest and Instagram for ideas and inspirations, I love this feature. To be able to pull up a picture, video, and just pause it and circle whatever I'm confused about has legit saved me so much time. I know you can do it with your finger, but I just prefer pulling out the S Pen. I feel like I'm actually utilizing what's on the phone. The biggest struggle when transitioning is the ecosystem. Giving up FaceTime for Google Meet and AirDrop for Intel Unison and Google Drive aren't my favorite. Not to mention iMessage, but overall, it's really not been that bad. But if you are somebody who's used to communicating with somebody with an Apple device and they switch, it's definitely not the easiest transition for the person as well. Continuing to list on things I like and don't like after the first 24 hours, cutting straight to the point, Gemini is miles better than Siri. We all know how frustrating Siri can be, and I think a lot of us thought with Apple Intelligence it would get better, but I feel like nothing has really changed. It just now asks me if I want to use ChatGPT, which is great. I'm not saying it's not. I just love how Gemini just instantly gets straight to the point with the answer I need. If I have a question about something, it doesn't say, I'm sorry, I don't understand, or searching the web, or would you like to use ChatGPT? It just tells me. And I tested this out with my girlfriend last night, but the language translate option, both from the swipe down menu and from actually taking calls, is super cool. It's definitely not 100% accurate, and that's to be expected. I would say maybe 70 to 80%, but I love that feature and I can't wait to see it be perfected. I really do believe the hate, slander, and bully that the Android ecosystem gets really just stems from the fact that there just doesn't feel like there's as many Android users. And with Apple dominating in that specific space, just makes the ecosystem that Apple has, that a lot of us have always been used to, just feel like the right way in comparison to the Android ecosystem. Which is part of the reason I've committed to making the switch, maybe temporarily, maybe forever. I don't know, but I just want to see, what have I never experienced or known? Because if I would have grown up with the Android ecosystem, I would think Apple's the same way. So I want to know how that flip-flop feels. The fact that I can go to close my apps and click close all, and they're all closed, compared to swiping a bunch on my iPhone, it's just a small little peace of mind feature I like. I am a big fan of things such as the audio eraser. I think they're taking steps in the right direction with their AI. It's just the consistency of lack of innovation, especially on the iPhone, has just lead me to want to try the other side. And vice versa. I know the S24 is very similar to the S25, so I get the complaints on both sides. I really just believe we're in a stagnant smartphone environment. I feel people are just copying and taking from what's been working with other devices, which I respect it. You know, you have to make a better phone every year. I just feel like, to me, this change feels like innovation because I'm not used to it. All that said, I really just need more time to understand this. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe because I will be dropping a day in the life with the S25 Ultra in due time. I will not rush that at all. With that, if you have any advice as somebody who's maybe made the transition, or things to look out for, or things I just need to turn on because I feel like Androids don't come unlocked to their full potential, please let me know in the comments. I would love to respond, interact with you guys, and understand more about what I'm getting myself into and things I should know. If you enjoyed this video, chances are you enjoy some of my others, and I'll throw them up right here. Thanks again for watching today's video. I will catch you guys in the next one.